It's totally good if you didn't watch the last video that I made because it doesn't this is kind of a follow up, but they're not related enough to where you would have to watch that one. But I kind of realized that I didn't like tell you how to make friends, and that's because I don't really know. And a lot of people, especially autistic people, struggle with that. And I personally am a high functioning autistic person, and I pass as normal enough or neurotypical enough to where it's not necessarily super obvious that I'm autistic, but people do know that there's something off about me. And so I've had a lot of struggle making friends or having reciprocating friendships to where I feel like I'm being treated fair. And so I wanted to give some ideas on things that you can do by yourself instead, because making friends is a different experience for everybody. But I think it's good to also know how to be able to spend time by yourself and thrive by yourself as well. So I'll put the time here where I'll put like things that you can do that don't cost money or need transportation. I'll just put it like right here somewhere on the screen. I don't know. But I have a list of things that you can do by yourself that maybe you didn't think of doing by yourself before. So the first one is going to the beach, which seems really obvious, or maybe you can't go to the beach because you don't live somewhere where the beach is accessible to you. But if you do, going to the beach by yourself is actually really fun. Nobody cares. Nobody's going to bother you. You can, go to the ocean, or you can tan or do whatever you like to do at the beach. And I used to not want to do that by myself. Like, I always used to, not go just because my friend couldn't go or didn't want to go or whatever. But it's really fun to go by yourself. So if you're able to, you should. Another thing is going to the movie theater to see a movie. It seems kind of scary doing that by yourself, but I promise it's not. I've done it before, and it's actually really fun. And you don't have to worry about if the person next to you likes the movie or if they're having a good time. You can see whatever you want. Same with eating at a restaurant. Nobody in the restaurant cares that you're by yourself. Nobody's thinking about it. They're just minding their own business, and you can go and eat food and not have to worry about that either. Same with shopping alone. It's way more fun, at least in my experience personally, to go shopping by yourself because you can spend any amount of time in any store that you want, and you're not rushed, and you're not being slowed down, and you can choose out things like clothes and stuff that you really like, and you don't have to worry about, oh, if your friend's like, ooh, that's an ugly shirt. It doesn't matter if they think it's ugly. If you think it's a nice item that you want to wear, then you should wear it. And then the last thing I have for need money or transportation activities is going swimming, which also seems obvious. But I did a study my sophomore year of high school. It was a 25-page research essay about how swimming is really beneficial for neurodivergent people, especially people with autism, because the repetition and the weightlessness of the water is just like it works very well as like an anxiety calmer. Especially, I've been a very anxious person my entire life, and swimming is just one of the things that really like lulls me when nothing else works. And then, so for free things that you can do, I put go on a walk and collect things that you see on the ground. Maybe this is just me, but I love collecting like trinkets and stuff. Um, and where I live, it's very easy to find, like, not necessarily like trash, although if you see trash, you should probably pick it up and throw it away. But not necessarily trash, but just like little trinkets on the ground, like little keychains or little like plastic stars or things like that. I collect like road reflectors, and I find one all the time when I go on the walk, and they're really, like, I think they're really cool to have. Or you can just like collect flowers and stuff. Don't pick all the flowers, but just a few is okay. Another thing is what I'm doing right now is filming things that you've experienced or about things that you love. Um, you don't have to post it like I am, but sometimes it's just nice to be able to talk and get your thoughts and feelings out into the air without having to feel judged about telling someone else about it. And then this one is a little odd, but learning how to do a headstand or a handstand. I'm in the process of doing that right now. It's not super duper successful currently, but I'm hoping that with time it'll get a little bit better. And then the last one I have, is do a collage, which depending on like what you have in your house might be different than what I have in my house. But even if you just have like old magazines or newspapers, or if you can draw things, like you can make a collage out of basically anything. I recently made a collage of myself. I was just trying to find a picture. This was the collage that I made of myself. See, I did drawing in the middle, and then I cut out my name in a bunch of different like old magazines that we had laying around. And this is like a really good zero or low budget activity, because you can draw yourself or whatever you're going to draw however you want to perceive it. And I don't know, I just feel like it's a really fun idea. So I hope that helped. And yeah, what I'm going to do tomorrow is I'm going to go to the beach by myself, and I'm going to enjoy basking in the sun. Also, another good thing about going to the beach alone is that if you want to play music, you can play any music you want, and nobody cares. It does seem kind of scary sometimes to do these things out alone when most people like to go out with their friends and stuff, but most people are really just thinking about themselves. They're worried about how people are perceiving them, to the point where they're not perceiving other people because they're just focusing on how they feel about themselves and how other people feel about them. So it does feel scary sometimes, but it's really worth it to try and get out there and make yourself happy if other people can't do that for you. I think the problem with doing a lot of these things is that for autistic people, or at least specifically autistic girls and women, or autistic people that were born biologically female, being perceived is a big problem, and a lot of us have like a lot of anxiety surrounding like how people see us, and if we're doing the right thing, or like if we're acting normal enough and stuff like that. Normal enough, at least. But we have a heightened sense of this kind of stuff. Like we, or at least speaking from personal experience and research, this doesn't mean it applies to everybody, but we tend to really take into account what other people think of us, and are worried that no matter what we do, we're not being perceived normal enough, which maybe people do think that, but the most important part about all of this is whether or not you want to care about it. You can care about all of those things, but it's going to create a lot of anxiety and inner turmoil, and you're not going to have a fun time, going out and doing things, even if it's by yourself, because you're going to be constantly worried about how other people, even random people, are perceiving you. And it took a lot of time for me to start trying to fix this about me, because I've been a very, very anxious person my entire life. And it was to the point where like I couldn't get up and walk in front of the class to get like a paper or a pencil, because I was so embarrassed about like doing something wrong and people looking at me or laughing at me or feeling embarrassed or all of these things. So I really I understand that it's definitely scary to be in front of people, even if like they're not like necessarily like a big crowd watching you. It's still scary to be out where there are people that could perceive you in a way that you don't want to be perceived. But it's just one of those things where you have to just accept it. There's no cure for this. You have to say, okay, maybe someone's looking at me. That's okay, because it's not going to change your life, especially with random people. If you want to go out and do things by yourself, a random person watching you, trip and fall. Yeah, it's embarrassing for a minute, but you have to learn how to try and get over that, because that person is not going to go home and tell their family about it. That person is not going to remember it tomorrow. They don't care. They do not care about you. Most people are so focused on themselves and are also worried about how their people are perceiving them that they're not thinking about you. They're thinking about themselves. And you really just have to keep remembering that. Otherwise, you're going to live a life filled with way too much anxiety and fear, and you're not going to be able to surpass that and get more comfortable in order to be able to make friends. To be making friends, you have to be comfortable with talking to them, maybe making a mistake, because mistakes are relatable. Everybody can make a mistake, and yeah, it's embarrassing, but they're gonna get over it, and if you can't get over it, then it's harder for them to. So I hope that little spiel is helpful, even though I know it's difficult to just change something that gives you a lot of anxiety. You can't just quit it. It just takes a little bit of time, and it takes some time to remind yourself to take a deep breath. It's gonna be okay. these people are way more concerned about themselves than they are with you, and that's like the most important thing that you need to start remembering. Thing that I forgot to mention is that if you've been lonely for a really long time, it can seem difficult to just be like, oh well, I have no friends, guess I'll just go out and do things by myself. And I understand that because I felt like this for a long time. But the point is that if you're really lonely, I think that it's worse to feel really lonely just at home by yourself, constantly watching people that you either maybe wish you were friends with or used to be friends with, or even just like random people going out and doing fun things. For me, it's a lot harder to just sit at home and dwell in the sadness. And I feel a lot better when, even if I'm alone, I go out and I try and make the best of the situation that I'm in, which I agree it's difficult to try and make the best of something that can be really depressing or debilitating and just really upsetting to experience. And if that's the case for you, and you aren't able to leave the house just because of how like debilitating being alone feels, then I truly hope the best for you in the current time and in the future. And I really hope that you're able to get some help and that you're able to get out there and experience and enjoy the world. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I really appreciate it, and I love you so much. Okay, bye.